This is Kugan Cassius for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. It's a lovely sunny Thursday afternoon. I'm joined by Adam Smith. How are you, Adam?
I'm good, Kugan. It does look sunny out there. I went for a little run, bit of exercise earlier, but I've been inside since. So yeah, it's getting used to these days. The situation is for everybody the same, and we miss the boxing, we miss live sport, we miss all of that. We're all just trying to stay safe and healthy. You doing okay?
Hanging in there, Adam. Hanging in there. Just, yeah, doing what I'm told, basically. So
it's difficult, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we spoke, I think, Adam, a couple of weeks ago, and I suppose kind of on the boxing front, etc. When things will return, we're none of the wiser because we're still in the middle of real life kind of thing. So nothing really to kind of update on that. From when we last spoke, we know that obviously the board suspended all boxing up until a minimum at the end of May. But apart from that, there is real no update on when boxing could be returning.
It could be longer than that, Kugan. As you said, we're all just listening to what the government advises us to do. Everybody letting the NHS get on with their work, the important work out there, and sport's got to wait. And we're all sort of frustrated. We love our sports. We love our boxing, and we've been in it, you and I, for a long, long time. It's very strange, and it's good to talk, it's good to communicate, but we want to see the live action back, but only when things are ready, when things have calmed, and when things are right out there. And I think Robert Smith will make that decision as and when. But it could go through June, I think, as well, and maybe into June, July before we see any live boxing again in the UK. But we don't know. There may be other areas of the world that open up before. But all we can do is just hope that when we do come back, it is really with a bang, with a real statement of fights, with some fantastic stuff to look forward to, and every one of us is going to be sort of crying out for that by that point, I think. So I think we could have a busy sort of late summer, which is normally a quieter season in boxing, August, but that could be pretty heavy and pretty exciting.
So, Adam, I just wanted to kind of pick up on a couple of the talking points from the last 2 days, quite notably some comments from Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Let's start with Deontay Wilder. He did an interview on the PBC podcast, and this was kind of his main quote from it, which is quite interesting. Deontay Wilder said, "I don't see Fury as a champion. He ain't the champion yet. We've still got one more fight left. He knows that wasn't me. That wasn't the real Deontay Wilder. Something was wrong with him. There's a time and a place. I will reveal a lot of things."
Well, he is the champion, and Deontay knows that. Tyson Fury gave us all one of the great displays, I felt, from a British boxer in any generation, on any night, in any division. I thought he was fantastic. I was so privileged to be there to watch it at the ringside at the MGM. It wasn't Deontay Wilder's night. That's clear. Nothing went right for him. He blamed the suit. He blamed the legs. I think he blamed he wasn't right, he didn't feel right, all of that stuff. I mean, I heard beforehand that he had a fantastic camp. That's what we were told. I think it's one he's got to come to terms with. It's his first defeat, although many of us felt that Fury did enough in their first fight, didn't get the win, he just got the draw. But I think that, look, he's obviously taken some time out to think, and he's got to, fighters are, they have to go deep down, and they have to sort of work out, if and how something went wrong. And if he's going to go back into the third fight in, say, October or whenever we resume, and if that goes ahead, he's got to, put the armor plate back on. He's got to, not the suit, obviously, but he's got to sort of, basically start again, hasn't he? He's got to, come up with different tactics. He's got to come up with a better game plan, because his game plan, whatever it was, whether it was just based on the power, was totally taken away by a tactically brilliant Tyson Fury, who just got absolutely everything right and followed up what he said he was going to do all along and stopped Wilder. It was very one-sided. And I think, it's not surprising that fighters come out with not just excuses, but ways of sort of coming to terms with it. You know, Deontay Wilder's a great man. He was a great champion. And I know deep down he wants revenge. But to say that Tyson Fury is not the world heavyweight champion, or certainly the WBC champion, we know Anthony Joshua holds the other belts, but that's just ridiculous because he lost his title, and he lost it fair and square, and he lost it dramatically. So yeah, but he's obviously taken time away. There was the kerfuffle at the end about, you know, Jay Diaz and Mark Breland and the towel, and, you know, there was some stuff said on the night, and then we have to wait and see what Deontay Wilder's going to come back with. You know, is it going to be the same team, a new team? I think he'll stay loyal. That's the sort of guy he is. But I think he said that a couple of new faces might come in, you know, he's got great people around him like Shelley Finkel and Al Heyman, and I'm sure that, you know, Deontay Wilder will come back better and mentally strong again, and physically right, and he'll give it another crack, and he'll believe he can become world champion again. But on the evidence of what we saw a few weeks ago, it's going to be a very hard ask.
I just want to add that Tyson Fury responded, his only response so far as of 2:10 on this Thursday. He wrote on the BT Sport Boxing Instagram account, tagging in Deontay Wilder, "You keep letting yourself down at Bronze Bomber. It's sad. It was you I smashed. That's the truth. Just admit it and move on. It's just a fight. You win some, you lose some. That's boxing, pal." Which is kind of a Tyson Fury-esque response, isn't it?
Totally agree with him. You know, there's no more to add, is there? You know, he lost, and you know, Deontay Wilder, I think deep down knows that. He knows that it was, you know, Tyson Fury's brilliance, and that's what, you know, we shouldn't take away from. You know, you can look for the excuses and the blame culture of what's happening with Deontay Wilder, but Tyson's right. He lost, and, you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, he's a very wealthy man. He's a very nice guy, Deontay Wilder. He's got friends in a lot of places. He's very charismatic. He's a great guy. We've had a long sort of, you know, working relationship with Sky and Deontay, and we've really, you know, become close to him. And yeah, you know, he's a family man. You know what he's gone through with his daughter and his children, and you know, he's done exceptionally well out of boxing, and he'll continue to do that. And you know, we'll see if he can become a world champion again. He's been to George Foreman, I know. Comeback's a great part of boxing. We saw Anthony Joshua last June, you know, dismantled and destroyed by Andy Ruiz. He lost a fight. He didn't make the excuses. He got back into the gym, and he got it all right the second time around. Fought a very different fight, very tactically astute. And now we want to see if Deontay Wilder's got it. But you know, Anthony Joshua came out yesterday and said that sometimes, you know, it's not good to go into battle with just, you know, one weapon. And we all know that is his power, Deontay Wilder. He's got frightening power. He's got probably the biggest power of anyone, any single punching heavyweight, maybe since Ernie Shavers. You know, George Foreman himself, Mike Tyson's combination punches. But you're talking about someone who can put lights out like that. Luis Ortiz was winning virtually everything until, you know, that one shot just took everything away from him. And we know that Wilder's got that. Is that enough? It wasn't, you know, when he fought Tyson Fury a few weeks back. Will it be next time? You could never count him out because he's got that equalizer. But Tyson Fury took that shot in the 12th round of their first fight and got up somehow, miraculously. It would all have been very different if he hadn't, but he did. And he got it spot on last time. So I like to think, Coogan, of crediting Tyson Fury for the win and for where he's been in boxing, and the fact he didn't get the decision the first time round, but he just dusted himself down. He changed trainers, which was a big thing, I think. Ben Davison had done such a great job, but he wanted something different. He went out to the Kronk, and you know, and he also told us what was going to happen. So I think this is one way you've got to just praise Tyson Fury. You've got to congratulate him. And I think Tyson's right. It's a fight. You lost. Come on, pick yourself up. Let's go again, and let's see if he can come back. And if he comes back, it makes the story almost even better, doesn't it? You know, 2-time AJ was singing, wasn't he, around the ring in Saudi Arabia, and it means a great deal. Lennox Lewis became a 3-time champion. He had that loss to Oliver McCall, which no one predicted. Then he lost to Hasim Ratman out in South Africa, but you know, he exacted revenge on both of them, and his legacy is assured forever as you know, our greatest heavyweight. And you know, it's up to Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, and Daniel Dubois, and all the other Brits to try and take Lennox off that sort of perch. But Lennox is there for me at the moment, and Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua hold all the belts, and Deontay Wilder's just got to wait for that third fight and get himself into the best possible mental and physical shape, as I'm sure he will. And we wish him well to come back, and let's hope it's a really good fight, the third one, if it happens, unless obviously Joshua Fury happens and something different, beyond the period we're in at the moment. Who knows with boxing? But if the third fight does happen, as it's contracted to, we hope for a really exciting one, and more even Stevens for the casual fans. But it was very one-sided last time, and Tyson Fury deserves all the credit.
Just coming on to Anthony Joshua there, he gave an interview, as you well know, with Sky Sports within the last couple of days, calling out Tyson Fury, saying, "Come fight me. If you really want to say you're number one, come fight me. Let's get it on. One dominant figure in the division to become undisputed. To prove yourself as number one, I have to fight Fury. He has to fight Joshua." So, yeah, I mean...
Do you know what? You've quoted one thing, Cougar, that Tyson Fury said this week about, come on, sort yourself out. I beat you. Pick yourself up and get on with it. Correct. And another thing that Anthony Joshua has just said, we want one champion. Absolutely right. Come and fight me, Tyson Fury. Totally agree. And I think Tyson Fury wants that challenge as much as Anthony Joshua. To hear them both talking, I know they have also talked sort of, off camera. They've wound each other up. They've talked off the record a little bit as well. So look, there's a lot of will to make this fight. And let's be honest, this is the fight that everybody wants to see now. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Joshua meant to fight Kubrat Pulev, as we know. Possibly not June, maybe July, maybe August, that can still happen. Tyson Fury meant to fight Deontay Wilder for the third time, but all these things have been talked about. There's been, mentioning step aside money. Deontay made it very clear yesterday he wants to fight with Tyson Fury, so who knows if that can happen. Lots of politics, lots of different camps, lots of obviously issues making a big fight. We saw how long it took to make Mayweather and Pacquiao. It took too long, didn't it? And it was a bit of a damp squib when it was made. It should have had three of them. But this is the time, I think, to make Joshua and Fury. And, whether we have to wait a little bit longer because of the two fights in the middle, or whether, this enforced period of no sport might actually get the fighters to say, look, you know what, let's just go for the big one right now. So, it's very interesting to see what happens when we come back. But, I'd love to see it. You'd love to see it. The world would love to see Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua lock arms in the ring. And, we could have a trilogy with them as well, So exciting times. But Deontay Wilder, very much still in the mix. Dillian White, of course. Scheduled to fight Alexander Povetkin. You've got Usyk and Chisora, Dubois and Joyce, that great fight that was going to happen as well. So much in the heavyweight division, but we all want an undisputed champion, don't we? We have a unified holder in Anthony Joshua. We have a new holder in Tyson Fury. Congratulations to them both about what they've done in the last few months. And I, for one, would love to see the biggest fight probably in boxing history. We all say it, they all say it, but it probably would be, wouldn't it? Certainly in modern history, no doubt about that.
Adam, obviously, just kind of touching on what you were saying there regarding Wilder and Pulev. Obviously, Joshua made some comments regarding those two fighters, saying that it would be amazing to tell Pulev it's best you step aside, and tell Wilder, enjoy your Alabama chicken while we get cracking in the UK. That fight needs to happen, and there will never be another time like this again. But there's too many obstacles, surely, kind of in the way of that in the current situation we're in, because obviously, aside from Wilder, Pulev's got to agree to step aside from the Joshua fight. And judging by Wilder's comments yesterday, it doesn't sound like he's going to be willing to do that. He didn't make any comments I saw specifically about that, but his intentions are that he wants the third Fury fight. So I think to expect that by the end of the year is rather optimistic, isn't it?
It's optimistic, yeah. But look, they've made virtually 3 Fury-Wilder fights. And, would you have said that would happen 2 or 3 years ago? So boxing moves very quickly. Although we're in a sort of standing still time for live sport, it can move very quickly behind the scenes. So there are a lot of pieces to the jigsaw. You're absolutely right. And it's going to be a very, very hard fight to make. What I always say is the fighters want it. You know, the two of them, Anthony Joshua, I know wants it. Tyson Fury, I know wants it. So that's always the best start. And, you know, fundamentally, if they're even sort of talking off the record, but of course, there's managers, there's promoters, there's television, there's all sorts of other factors in it. And as you say, there's two opponents in Kubrat Pulev and Deontay Wilder, who I'm sure Pulev believes he could knock out Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder, rightfully, I don't think he'll be snacking on too much Alabama chicken. Actually, you know, if he could travel, he'd probably be in the UK because he loves it over here. But, you know, when he can travel and when you know, the sort of borders are down and people can move freer again, you know, who knows where these fights might take place. And I think there is still a chance of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury next. But it depends on a huge amount of obstacles, and they're big obstacles. You know, a lot of money's going to have to be found to make this fight. Obviously, there's huge finances in it, but, you know, you're going to need a pot that's going to have to sort of, you know, satisfy Deontay Wilder, satisfy Kubrat Pulev. Maybe they could all appear on the same card, or there could be something else, and there could be, you know, we could have a massive heavyweight, you know, Fandango or something. Something could happen, or, you know, maybe Deontay Wilder could take more time out, or Kubrat Pulev could as well. Kubrat Pulev's waited a long time, remember, too. So, and he might fancy that, you know, Joshua, having seen what happened with Andy Ruiz, is the one he wants. So there's a lot of difficulties, you know. Obviously, with Tyson Fury's side, you've got Frank Warren, you've got BT, you've got Top Rank, you've got, you know, Bob Arum, Todd DeBerf, you've got ESPN, you know, and on the other side, of course,
MTK
you've got
as well.
And MTK, you know, hold a huge part of this, because MTK, you know, they obviously work with us, through Eddie, with the Golden Contract, and, you know, they work with Frank, and they work with Tyson Fury for a long time, done a great job with him, and obviously the ESPN relationship, and MTK have got some great fighters. You know, we're working with Billy Joe Saunders and others now, and as I said, the Golden Contract. So, you know, MTK are putting on shows with Sky, with BT. So yeah, they could be very important in all of this. I think there's a lot of people that are going to have to come together. You know, most importantly the fighters, but obviously Eddie Hearn has, you know, Anthony Joshua, who is, you know, the casual fans. He is the man who's transcended boxing in many ways. Tyson Fury is the fighter's fighter, isn't he? He's got the momentum now. He's, you know, most people's number one in the world, and, you know, it's got to happen at some time. But there's a lot of things, you know. Money obviously is the most important, but there's the television side. There's ESPN. There's DAZN. There's Sky, there's BT, you know. Can we all come together? Is this a time now, Coogan, where, you know, they're saying to us, you know, day in, day out, be nice, you know, come together, be collaborative, work with each other in your family homes, stay in, all of that that's happening on a much bigger scale in the world, and all the difficult side that's happening out there, and the illness and the deaths, and it's terrible to see. You know, is this a time where maybe, like, I don't know, a boxing writers' dinner where we all come together once a year and sort of people talk to each other before you get back to your business the next day? Maybe this is a time where, you know, people could collaborate a little bit more, and I think that's what's needed to get this fight done. And you know, it's a chance maybe for everybody to sort of try and, you know, work together in a way. But it's going to be difficult. As you said, there are huge amounts of problems in the way. Could it happen this year? Will we have to wait until the Deontay Wilder fight and the Kubrat Pulev fight? We don't know. But it also probably depends a little bit on when we get back to boxing, because obviously the longer it goes on, the more Joshua and Fury are going to realize that they have to get this fight on before, you know, it's too late. One of them loses, or things change in the landscape. So, you know, if there is a will to make this fight now, and there's a chance, maybe it is best to try and get it over the line this year, or certainly for the first part of 2021. As I said, you know, once you have one, you could have two or three. So it is the biggest fight in world boxing. It's one of the biggest events in world sport, getting Fury and Joshua together. So I think that all the parties should be doing everything they can to try and, you know, maybe put egos to one side a little bit, put money. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of money for everybody, but, you know, to try and make this fight for the world, because, you know, the world will be very grateful for this fight, I think, when sport comes back. And if we in boxing can say, right, we're coming back with as big a fight as that is some real statement. But yeah, a lot of work behind the scenes to try and make that happen. And obviously, Kubrat Pulev and Deontay Wilder have got to have their say. And if they don't agree, that they're not sort of next in line for Joshua and Fury, then it won't just yet, but it will happen. I can't give you a date. I can't give you a time. I can't give you a venue. But I believe in my heart of hearts that that Fury, Joshua, Fury will happen, and there won't just be one of them.
Adam, who are you picking for the big fight? John Fury or Mick Theo?
I don't know enough about the other fella. I know about John Fury, and I've seen the I've seen the viral message. Listen, we're all looking for something else at this time, aren't we? Entertainment, whatever. Big John is very entertaining. He's actually a very good pundit as well. He's a very good spokesman. He's a good talker, and he's Tyson's dad, so he's always going to make the headlines, isn't he, Coogan? And I don't know enough about the other guy. What's he like?
I don't know too much about Mick Theo. Obviously, I interviewed him recently. Watched some sparring clips. He used to spar Lenny McClane back in the day.
Yeah, that's some form.
Yeah, so obviously both gentlemen in their 50s now want to raise a bit of money for the NHS, which is obviously good.
Yeah, that's the good side. You know, if they're doing something for the NHS, they're doing something to help out and give everyone some entertainment, as you said, both in their 50s, and you know, they have a bit of fun with it as well as a little scrap. And where would it take place, and how would it happen, and under any rules?
Well, originally John Fury wanted to do it gypsy style. You can have your own interpretation of that, Adam. But as far as I know, it will be kind of head guards, gloves, in a ring, white collar style. So, like I said, if they earn a few quid for the NHS, then
why not?
And they're both fit and healthy and come out safe, I don't see the problem with it. So,
yeah, that's the key thing. And I think that the issue we've got, and maybe going back into boxing, obviously not for many weeks, is the medical side. There's one thing about social gatherings and crowds, but the most important thing is the medical sides, and the doctors and nurses and the anaesthetists and everybody that are working flat out and doing an incredible job on the front line. You know, they've got to continue doing that for many weeks to come. So that's a difficulty for, obviously, for the British board and all of us, the doctors' side, and when we'll be able to have doctors at events, because obviously that's paramount to the fighters' safety, to their health when they put themselves into the ring and into battle. So we've got to have that absolutely right. And you know, there's going to be a very tired workforce out there, aren't there, when it all calms down. So we have just to monitor that situation. That's up to Robert and the board. So as long as everybody stays healthy through this period, and if those guys are going to do that for the NHS and give us some entertainment and white collar style, we just want to make sure that they're healthy too.
Absolutely. Adam, I just wanted to kind of finish off on you talking a little bit about how what's been going on has affected Sky Sports in general. Could you give us a kind of little outline of that, please, Adam?
Yeah, obviously it's affecting everybody. You know, as a business, Sky is obviously a huge entity, and under Comcast, who took us over a year and a half ago. It's a global thing as well, and everyone around the globe is being affected by this. So you look at Comcast and Sky in one way. You know, obviously there are critical parts to the business. There's the communication, the broadband. There's, you know, what's supporting this sort of stuff. You know, the internet. There's the Sky Mobile. There's Sky News, obviously, and across the pond, the NBC News and the key sort of communication to people at home at the moment. And there's the people on the front line. You know, there's the engineers that are going around and trying to make that possible for, you know, for people at home under very difficult circumstances, you know, not allowed into their houses and all that sort of stuff. So it's very hard but very busy in one way. But obviously from a Sky Sports point of view, it's tough because we have 11 channels, and you know, we've frozen subscriptions. So that's, you know, that's something, giving customers something back. But at the same time, we're carrying on with content where we can. Obviously, there's a lot of old archive. There's a lot of sort of nostalgia and going down memory lane, as everybody is at the moment, and sort of stopping. And, you know, we've talked offline about, you know, sort of where we've been and sort of what we've done. And very often there's not that chance to do that. Boxing's so busy, sport's so busy. You're on to the next event. You're traveling again. You don't have the chance to sort of reflect. So it is a chance to sort of reflect and show some of the great old nights and old fights and old sport and that sort of thing. But I think there's some really interesting stuff going on. There was a watch-a-thon with the cricketers on the weekend. Golf. There's the football show that's happening as well on Sky at the moment, and getting the big names, because obviously the footballers want to talk. The managers can come in, and so there's some content being made, but obviously we've got to balance that, because people's staff safety and health is the most important thing. They're not, most people are working from home at the moment. So there's very few sort of key workers on site. In Austerley, it's a very truncated, obviously very sort of essential workers there, and people are sort of getting behind Sky News and helping out to in which way they can, and whether that's sort of trying to sort of entertain the public, as we've talked about with the likes of your John Furies, and trying to come up with different content, sort of social and digital, and going back through the archives and coming up with new things. Fighting Fit through Matchroom's a great new series. That's terrific, and maybe there'll be more of those. And we're digging in, as I said, to the old archive. There's a lot going on, so people are busy. But, it's a different sort of busy. There are some people twiddling their thumbs at home, wanting to do more, as we all are. We want to get to events. And if you haven't got live content, live sport, it's very hard. But we're doing what we can. We're helping out. We're staying inside and adhering to the regulations and as much as we can. But also we're trying to, get things on air, and trying to, do that in very difficult circumstances. And the technical teams are being brilliant. You and I have just worked out Zoom, but these guys have just... they're fantastic. They're working out how to sort of get live content together and get it through live at Sky as it is, through transmission. Working with all sorts of different sort of directors and producers to get this stuff on air. It's difficult. It's a real challenge. But I think all of us in sport, we're missing it. But there are more important things out there at the moment, and we've just got to wait our time and do everything we can to keep in with it, keep communicating. And maybe this is the time to work out, really powerful schedules when we come back, and make sure that fights that might not have happened actually get made, and fights that we haven't seen yet, the Kelly Evanesian fight, things like that, the Dubois and Joyce, lots of fights that are coming up that, seem to have gone or for now, we want to come back with White Povetkin and all of those sort of fights. And, the heavyweight division will rekindle itself, but we've got to keep the big names in the forefront. It's great to get Anthony Joshua on Sky. It'd be good to get Tyson Fury out there too, maybe next week. And we keep the big names, in people's minds, and I'm sure they'll be chomping at the bit for when it all starts up again. So it's tough times for everybody, but we just want everyone to stay healthy, happy, secure at home, and help our NHS do them.
Absolutely, Adam. I've got an interview lined up with Johnny Nelson straight after this. He's just tried to call me there. He might have wanted to do it early, so...
he says he's quite enjoying the isolation, Johnny. I mean, he did spend 4.5 years in exile on the road, where he was fought anybody, and I think maybe John Ingville came with him at times, but he was pretty much alone in quite a lot of those sparring sessions, wasn't he? In Germany and out in Brazil, and we went everywhere, New Zealand. So I think he's pretty used to his own company, Johnny. But yeah, I'm sure he's missing it too, and it'd be good for you to catch up with him. But yeah, you seem to hear his voice too.
In the phone, so. Maybe he hasn't got any clothes on. I don't know with Johnny, so we'll see.
We don't want to know that side. I'm sure he's training. He's training every day. You're training every day, Coog?
Not really, no. But I will. I'm going to start tomorrow.
You're eating too much.
Why are you saying I put weight on?
Listen, you have done amazingly. You know that over the years to look phenomenal.
I've definitely put on.
I can't see under the big hoodie. I can't see. You look great to me. But I'm just saying, if you're not training, are you eating too much?
I've probably put on half a stone in this period, to be honest. So
there you go. What's is it the sweet tooth? Is it the biscuits? Is it the?
It's the late night eating. That's what it is, because I'm usually quite late.
The late night kebabs.
No, definitely not that. But there's it's in the cupboard,
It's the cupboard. Listen, we all need something to keep us going. We've got to keep positive through this as well, haven't we? I mean, that's the key. Keep positive. keep everybody as safe, and that's not just physically, that's mentally as well. My mum's on her own, and it's keeping everybody engaged and keeping them involved, and the Zoom and the reaching out, and that's the most important thing as well, and making sure they've got plenty of food, and they're as happy as they can be, and we all want to be together again, families, when we get through this. But we've got to do what we need.
Adam Smith, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Hopefully we'll catch up with you again soon. So keep yourself safe, and also your family. And like I said, hopefully we'll speak soon.
Anytime, Coogan. Take care. Keep safe.